yeah, I did the microphone was on. I'll mute it for a while. Good evening, everyone. I decided to start a little bit early because I am going live with Scott at Rambling with the Brums tonight. We will discuss a little bit what's going to happen next week. The fundraiser we're having for Olivia, a 4-year-old kid from my area, and it's her first brain cancer. So I invite you all to join me and join Scott. We're not exactly 100% sure how it's going to happen. We're still waiting for the text from the mother with all the explanation, saying exactly what she's going through, what's been happening so far, what are the chances, that kind of stuff that's not really fun to talk about, but doing a fundraiser where there's a possibility of having big numbers is the kind of thing where you need to have as much information as possible. I forgot to share the live stream, so give me a second here and I will get right back with you. So I see Jennifer's here in the chat. That's awesome. Okay, right here, Ren's family. Actually, I think if I post it on Instagram, it goes to every website at the same time. Let's see. Post. Okay, I think I need to put thumbnail. There you go. Let's see. Oh. Okay, can I? Oh, I can do it that way. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Learning something new. Oh, shit. I forgot to check something. Post has been shared. Now, usually when I share something on Instagram, it automatically shares on Threads. And this time it did not. For some reason, it's not doing the same thing. So I will share it on Thread as well. There you go. Okay. And I will share it on my Facebook page. There you go. All right. Anybody else join the live stream? Don't be afraid to say hi, leave a comment, start chatting. It's always much appreciated. You don't need to, but it's a lot easier to talk with someone. If you have any questions, I see that I have 4 votes in my poll. So that means there's at least 4 people. Oh, someone's undecided. So we have someone else in the stream, in the chat somewhere. If you're looking, that's good as well. Let's see. What life? Greetings, beautiful people. Good evening. Thank you so much for stopping by. I am just quickly sharing my live stream on my other social media. So that was me. So Jennifer's here, and What Life is here. A member of mine, 2 members. Both of you are members of my channel, which is awesome. Jennifer is a member that she paid to be a member. What Life was one of the lucky winners to win a free membership for a month. Hopefully, I'm able to convince you to stick around. But if not, it is what it is. Everybody's budget is very limited, and we all have so many people to follow that we can't really follow everyone. I try to post a lot of pictures in the background, like what's going on in my life, and it's hard. Even that is hard because I need to put some pictures on other social medias to keep people interested in my content. And then if I have followers on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and so on, there's more chances that I will there's more chance for me to have more followers joining the YouTube. But if I start sharing too much pictures on those social media, then it's hard to find content to put for my members only. So it's a balance that's hard to keep going, but every once in a while I try to post a video that I leave for members only. There's one where I was challenged a couple years back. There was a kid somewhere harvesting or gathering night crawlers, selling them at, I think it was like 25 cents a piece. You know, those big, huge worms you use to go fishing. Hello, Amanda. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope everything's going well with you. It's been a while. So there was a kid trying to get some night crawlers at 25 cents a piece. I think they were selling like 10 for like $2.50, or it could have been a bit more for a little bit cheaper. Like it was really cheap. And someone commented that it didn't make sense because it might take you a few hours a night to get one worm pack, I guess, one bowl of night crawlers. And I commented saying, well, you know, it takes about 5 to 10 seconds to grab a night crawler. And I even said, you can get 20 night crawlers in a minute. And they started laughing at me, calling me crazy. So I decided to go outside at prime time, because obviously when I commented, I said during the prime time in the spring, not too long after the snow has melted, if it's a cool, wet night, as soon as the sun goes down and you actually need a flashlight to see, it's the best time to go. And it told me I was crazy, that I was never going to be able to reach 20. Well, let's just say that I proved them wrong. Did I succeed or not? That's for members to find out. But what I can say is I could have gone a lot higher than what I did if I didn't have to hold the camera in one hand to film everything I was doing, because I had the camera filming with the headlight and one hand holding the bowl with the camera and one hand grabbing the night crawlers. So if I didn't need to hold the camera in my hand, I could put the bowl down on the side, grab a few night crawlers, put them in, advance, and have maybe like 3-4 night crawlers every 10 seconds easily, because I was able to do it with the camera in my hand. So good evening, Scott. Thank you so much for stopping by. Like I just said, I will be joining Scott later on tonight. I don't know if you got my last message. This is something that we probably should talk off the air, but anyway, I'll let you listen and tell me how you feel about it. Awesome. I'm glad that you're doing fine. So I have people saying about 50% is having a good season. 33%, which is 1/3, is having a not so good season, and 17% out of 6 votes. That means that's 1 vote. Someone saying that it's the worst year ever. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into this. If you're in an area where it's been colder than usual, warmer than usual, if it's been drier, more rain than usual, Someone like Jennifer that is trying to build something uh, short term in case she moves, well, she's not going to have as much success as if she was building a full time garden for the next 40 years. Someone that just have a newborn baby at home is not going to be as productive as someone that's been um, kids free for a few years. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of factors that go into this. Personally, I'm having a great season, but it's not the best ever. Um, and it's it's still doing pretty good. The only thing is, I've been struggling with beets for the last couple of years because the weeds take over and they just don't seem to get big enough. But I started growing beets. I think it was last year or the year before. Okay, I agree with that, Scott. The 16 hours would make sense. I mean, I can start at 7 a.m. my time on Saturday and go until midnight or something like that. So if I start, yeah, uh, even if I started at around 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning, so would anyway, we can talk about that later, just to figure out exactly the best timing. I'll be up at 6 in my time regardless, which is 5 o'clock your time, so I can still get up, breakfast and coffee. I might not need to do the snooze in the afternoon like we talked about, but maybe just like an hour. I'm getting old. I can't stay up for too long. If I get up at 6 around 10 p.m., I'm tired and I need to go to bed. So yeah, and it's not like I'm gonna be drinking all day. You know what I mean? It's something that you want to look sharp. I will even shave for that live stream. I have a few people coming over. The only thing, I'm going to have to talk to Maureen Washington again. She said she was going to perform a few songs, although I don't think she's available on Saturday. I'll have to check with her again just to confirm. But worst comes to worst, she can record something and just send me the video and we can figure something out. Probably the best thing would be for her to upload it unlisted, send me the link, and we could play it during the day. We're hoping to have a lot of special guests during the day as well. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I'm looking forward towards more like the big number of the two options you said there, like the two biggest numbers, 16, 18, simply because I want to have a big impact. Listening and peeling, coring the last bit of the tomatoes I got at Superstore last week to freeze till I'm ready to can. So much work, but we always need more. I'm going to be looking around for someone that would have a few tomatoes to spare, probably. Well, it's hard because my tomatoes are doing okay. They're not doing great. They're not doing the best they could be, but they're still doing okay. My peppers are growing like crazy, but because we've had really, really warm and humid summer, inside the greenhouse it's been too humid, and I didn't notice until it was too late. And half my peppers have mold on them, so I had to get rid of them. I have to keep an eye open because they're not ripe. I can't pick them up. And if I leave them on the branch, on the vine, on the plant to let it go, it will rot and I'll have to get rid of it. And if I pick it up too early, it might not have time to ripe and it might be pointless for me to even pick it up. So I was able to harvest a few cayenne pepper. I'm gonna have to dehydrate them, and I like making little powder with it, and I sprinkle that on my soup, because cayenne pepper is actually very very good for your health. So that's one of the peppers that I was able to get right. I have a few red night peppers. They're also doing great, but they're the ones that get mold pretty much right away. I think I have a few pepperoncini peppers from the Vineyard Chicks challenge, the Survival Seed Challenge 2024. I have one plant that's still going, and I think I have two peppers on it. But I don't know what color they're supposed to get. Are they supposed to stay green? Um, if so, I might be able to pick them up before the birds get to them. If I have to wait until they change color, I need to know what color they're changing to. I was also harvesting some grapes today. This is a great year for grapes. And from what I can see, apple trees around are doing great, but the ones on my property are not. Well, I'm kind of happy because I had to spray mine with some chemicals this year. Not something I like to do, but it was either that or I had to cut my tree down. So at least it will survive. The tree is very, very healthy at the moment, just no apples. And I did that early in spring. So I didn't hurt the bees. It's still full of bees. Trust me, they're still all over the place. So in 2-3 years, all the toxic stuff will be gone, and I'll be able to start harvesting my apples again. Um, but the rest is doing okay. I mean, I'm harvesting a lot of cucumbers and zucchinis. I'll have to see about my potatoes. I'm waiting until the end of September, maybe even the end of October. I'll see. Night crawlers are easy, definitely. Good evening, Simple Acre Homestead. Thank you so much for stopping by. Brendan Looney Tunes Fan 2000, what's up? Getting ready for another live stream in about 45 minutes. I am heading over to Scott's live stream, Rambling with the Brums. The one telling me that I am getting old. Yes, I am getting old. I feel tired all the time now. If I get up before 7, I feel tired. But if I wake up after 6:30, I'm usually not functioning very well because it's actually too late for me. Like, it doesn't make sense, but my body's getting old. Hello, Tiffany. Thank you so much for stopping by. She can end it. Yeah, well, I'll talk to her and see her availabilities and see what's happening with her. Awesome. JNB, thank you so much for being here. We have been preserving apples, pears, tomatoes, elderberries, beans, carrots. Busy. Yeah, I've been preserving. I found a few lobster mushrooms. I was able to dehydrate them, and I made some beautiful powder. I froze a bunch of zucchinis and squash. I canned some zucchinis. I canned some cucumbers. I also dehydrated a few herbs. I also found a few more apple trees at the community garden, which is awesome because it's pretty much free for the taking. Nobody's really going after those apples. And it's a weird season because there's a few things that are growing very, very early, like apples. I mean, usually they're ready at the end of September. So I'm guessing by mid-September, they'll be ready. But some of them need to be harvested now. Those August apples, they're usually good now. But yeah, problem is, if you harvest them now, it might be too early, or if you wait a week, it might be too late. It's hard to say. We've had a few problems with the wild blueberries as well. There was a lot of them, but they were way too small. Um, there's a lot of hazelnuts this year as well, but same again. There's like it's every second year is good, every second year is bad for hazelnuts, and like there's a cycle of every like 4 years where it's like even better, and then the next year is like the worst ever. So this year is like actually very, very, very good. But I'm sorry, I'm just blocking one of those bad bots on threads. Um, this year is a very, very good year for hazelnuts. Only problem is they're full of worms. So I harvested a few, sent over to Marilyn, little homestead by the beach. She wanted to have a few ones. But I'm leaving them in water for now, not because I want them to sprout, but because I want to make sure there's no worms in them. I will answer that question simply because it's a quick one. It's Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner. But this is a homesteading channel. Nobody wants to do the work picking the apples except for us crazy homesteaders. I don't mind the picking. It's not the picking that I hate. It's the preserving after, because my girlfriend doesn't know what to do and she doesn't want to learn. So, I mean, she'll help me if I want to cut the apples in cubes or if I want to peel them. That she'll be good to help me. But if I'm at work, I mean, nothing is moving forward. And that's the hard part, because you want to be able to preserve as much as possible. But to do that, you need to have the time to do it. But with a full-time job, there's only so much one person can do. I mean, I've done some applesauce, and I still have some from last year. So I have to figure out a way to use them, and we're not so good with pies, although that would be the easiest way to use them. Either make some pies, apple pies, or apple syrup, or apple cider vinegar, or something like that. I usually give a bunch of apples to my mother-in-law, and she makes us some beautiful, delicious pies. But we'll have to see, depending on what kind we get this year. If school starts, school starts in about a week and a half, and it might be a good snacks for kids when they go back to school. Fresh, delicious, organic apples. When are the zucchinis ready to eat? Are you talking about the ones I gave you, the pickled ones, or you're talking about the ones in the garden? The ones in the garden are pretty much ready to eat whenever you want to eat them. Some people will eat them when they're, the size of a toilet paper roll like this. If it's that big, some people will eat it, and they say it's the best time to eat them. I let mine go as big as possible. If they get this big, 6, 7, 8, 10 pounds, that's when I like them, because I can cut them in slices, or sideways, make a meal out of them, or just like remove the middle, the seeds and all that stuff, have more seeds for next year, and at the same time have some clean, beautiful, delicious zucchinis. And I'll can some. I make pickles. I will freeze some in slices, in cubes. Zucchini is good raw. It's good fried. It's good fried in the pan. It's good cooked in the oven, in soup. It's good even if you boil it. Then you can boiling is a little bit harder, but if you put it in soup, it's actually pretty cool. We also use them for jam jelly and use the peeling for apple cider vinegar. Yeah, that's something I have to learn to do as well. I've never done apple cider vinegar. Tracy keeps telling me that if you can do it, anybody can. So I just have to watch his video and see how he does it. The apple jelly and jam, that's something else I want to do. Um, apple butter, that sounds delicious. Yeah, I haven't tried that either, but I feel like I should. And if you have the video on your channel, you're a moderator, Scott. You can share the video if you want, and that way I'll be able to take a look also. What else has been going on? Tomorrow morning we're having a huge yard sale. Simply because I have a bunch of things. Well, we've been talking about making a yard sale for about 2 years now. The kids are getting older, and those little toys they used to play with when they were 5, 6, 7 years old, they don't play with them anymore. I mean, my youngest kid is 11. I just barbecued our zucchini tomato. So zucchinis from your garden, you mean? That's awesome. Did you try the pickled zucchinis I gave you? And yeah, so the kids wanted to make a yard sale to get rid of some of their stuff. And for the last year, everything's been hanging in the basement where my toolbox is, where my rifle case is. I have my pantry back there, a bunch of different things really that I use either for the homestead or for personal use. Like I have a bunch of stuff, like my kit to make fishing flies. It's hidden somewhere in there. Now, by doing the yard sale tomorrow, they pretty much emptied the whole area. Although I ended up with a love seat, the kids wanted to have the new one that we got from Scott, and I ended up with the other one, which is a little bit older and it's not as fun, but it's in good condition. Even the old one is very good condition, and I didn't want to get rid of it, so I put it down there in the basement, and it's giving me a place to go and crash. Now I've been starting to think about different ways I can make a nice room in there. I might have to get rid of a few things. I have a few shelves, lockers where I put my pews. There's a bunch of things I hide there that I want to be able to move around a little bit and have my pantry, and all the gardening stuff have to go somewhere. I don't want to leave stuff in the garage. I don't have a garage door. So as for now, I leave my expensive stuff in the back of my vehicle locked. At least I have insurance on my car. But if I just leave stuff in the garage with no door, well, there's a chance I might lose it. So I have a chance. I keep some stuff in my dad's place as well. He's got like a huge, beautiful garage. The zucchini, the one I gave you, you can pretty much eat it whenever you want. What I will say is, last year when I cooked it, when I did the recipe, the smell in the house was awful. But obviously, I was doing it for the first time. I was trying to smell as much as I could to see what it would smell and taste like. So the vinegar, I mean, if you have vinegar with mustard and turmeric and a bunch of other ingredients, it goes in your nostrils. It smells, well, just not the best. Let's just say it doesn't smell the best. So I waited about 2 months before I opened mine, and they were delicious. So if you wait about 2 months from the time I gave it to you. You have the date on them. I always put the date I made them on it. They'd be good for Thanksgiving or Christmas, up to you. It's a good side dish. I love it. You can eat it as a snack if you want. But when you have people over, it's always fun to have a little extra to put in your plate. If you like pickled stuff, you'll enjoy them, hopefully. So, that being said, I'm thinking about getting some, those wood pallets, and maybe take the little tiny boards, the ones that are straight, and make my ceiling with them. Now, I know I would need to do something where I can remove the boards if I ever need to access those places. But I'm trying to think of a way I could do it for cheap. And yeah, just do it for cheap, and at least it wouldn't be as dusty in that room, because right now there's a lot of dust going on top of my pantry. And I mean, it doesn't matter because everything is well sealed in my mason jars, but at the same time, it doesn't look too appealing when you have dust on your food. I have the freezers on this side here, and I have my pantry back there. I want to change a few things. I might have to bring my toolbox in my bedroom and put the little shelf I have in there in my pantry, where, well, it's going to be a pantry at some point. And like, I'll put my spices and other things like that in that little shelf. And what I have, it's actually pretty cool. It's one of those big, huge hospital shelves that they use to put medication on, but they're like more like metal baskets. Take those drawers from the fridge, make that into like in metal. It's hard to explain. It's not full. It's like metal going like this, so it's like a fence kind of. So the mason jars fit perfectly on them because the holes are small enough, but it allows a good airflow. They don't get too humid, and they're aligned just a little tiny bit like this. Not enough so that if you put one in the back and it drops in the front, it won't break, it won't hurt, it won't damage. It's not going down as too fast. But it's inclined enough that if you remove the one in front, they all slide slowly in the front. So it's perfect for that. And I was able to get it. When they sell stuff like that at the hospital, they don't do it often, but when they do, usually what they ask you to do is make a donation to the Friends of Healthcare Foundation. And I ended up paying $20 for that rack. And I fit about 150 mason jars, probably. It's hard to say because I have a lot of empty ones. My girlfriend put all the empty ones in there. So that's another thing I have to do in my pantry. Find a place. Well, I have some space already in there. I might need to put a few boxes, like on the shelves, and make like something on make tiny sides, something on the sides with, once again, either strapping or little pallets, just so that the jars don't fall off, or maybe just put them in boxes. But I'm always afraid that someone will hit the box, or bring the box towards them and just drop everything on the floor. Although the kids are getting older now, it shouldn't be as big as an issue. by removing all the mason jars, the empty ones from my shelf. I'll be able to put some new ones, and by putting new ones, I'll be able to have better access to food storage for, for a year at least. And it's hard. I feel like for just one person doing all the canning, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Having at least 150 mason jars done. If I was alone, I'd be able to survive on those mason jars. I have some moose meat canned from last year. It's still good. That can do 2 meals for me. I mean, I take it out, warm it up, have a meal, put it in the fridge for the next day, another meal. But I also have 4 freezers. So we have one freezer. Well, we have the fridge that has a freezer compartment on top, but we put mostly like the stuff the kids will eat easily, like frozen pancakes, those Eggo waffles. We'll put like one frozen bread there at a time. Things like that. We have another freezer that's full of chickens. All the chickens, turkeys that I harvested from my own chickens, they take a full freezer. I have another freezer where we keep all the vegetables. We have zucchinis, squash. We harvested some strawberries, some raspberries, some rhubarb. We also have squash, zucchini. Like I said, squash and zucchinis already. We have meat pies that my mom did with the meat we had last year. A few things like that. We have one freezer that's full of pork and venison. And last but not least, we have one more freezer that usually we fill up with moose meat because, like I said before, I've always been lucky enough to have a friend inviting me on their moose hunt. So I often end up with moose meat. But I'm out and we don't have a tag this year, so I'm still waiting for a friend to invite me over. And if that doesn't work, well, the freezer is already full. So all my freezers at the moment are full. But we don't have venison, we don't have pork, and we don't have moose. So I have to start canning. I have to start canning some stuff. I still have a few vacation days that I'm probably going to have to take because I need to can. I need to do some stuff. We have some chicken that we harvested as whole, but we have some that we cut. We have a bunch of vacuum sealed chicken wings. We have vacuum sealed legs. We have vacuum sealed boneless breast. It takes a lot of space. Plus the turkeys. I have 4 turkeys plus 1 left over from last year. People are not too chatty tonight. What's up? Let's see. So far I have 11 votes, 9%, which is one person saying that it's better than ever. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. 64% saying that the garden is actually doing good. 18% saying that the garden is not doing so good. And one person, 9%, saying that it's the worst year ever. So we have one person saying that it's the best ever, one saying it's the worst. 2 are saying that it's not so good. And so that's 4 out of 11. So the other 7 are having a good season. It's hard to say. I mean, if I look back, my worst season, I had only planted a few carrots and radishes, and none of them came up, which is why I quit gardening for a while. Back in 2011 or 2012, I quit gardening because nothing was working. But as you learn, as you try, as you know, I'm not a kind of person to give up. So I don't give up. I decided to go and learn some more, try again, learn some new tricks, and it worked. I ended up doing a lot of good stuff. Last year, the 2,500 pound of food I had last year is going to be very, very hard to beat because I ended up with pork, I ended up with moose, like a huge moose, and I ended up with a lot of venison. So right there, in terms of red meat, it was 140 pound of venison. It was 200 and around 240 pounds of moose, and about 200 and was it 240 230 pounds of pork. So that's like 650 pounds of red meat right off the back. I have a couple to finish up. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a couple to finish outside before it gets any later. I'll leave you on while I'm out. Awesome. Thank you so much. I also ended up with, I think all my turkeys survived last year, if I remember correctly. I think I had 6. They were huge last year. They were around 20 pounds. So, 6 or 8 turkeys at 20, 23 pounds. It was over 100 pounds of turkey meat. My chickens, I had. Do I still have the documentary open? Let's see. Where would that be? Where's 2023? It's opening. Could take a while. My computer is not the best. I ended up with give or take, 104 dozens of eggs in a year. Last year we ate a lot of eggs. So I had 50 chickens total last year. I had a lot of meat birds, 39 meat birds, but I also had a few roosters to harvest to put in the freezer, for a total of 227 pounds of meat. I had about 20 pounds of rabbits, 240 pounds of pigs, 91 pounds of turkeys. I didn't get much fish, although I got about 60 pounds of clams. That's with the shells. I ended up going fishing for trout in a few stock ponds. So I ended up with about 200 pound worth of fish. Foraging last year, the foraging was awesome. I ended up with over 100 pounds of apples, about 20 pounds of blueberries, a few mushrooms, a few cherries, nothing major, about 40 pounds of fiddleheads. What else worth mentioning? I did the sumac. I can still do sumac this year. Gardening, though. Gardening, if I just go with what was big, I had about 44 pounds of beans. Hello, Marilyn. Hello, Tracy. Roadrunner and Coyote are my favorites. Awesome. I had about 90 pounds of carrots. That's going to be hard to beat this year. I don't think I'll get any close to that. Celery, I had 7 pounds of celery. I am already over that with what my no harvested. Last year, the stems of my celery were maybe the size of that Sharpie. This year, they're, maybe the size, well, not the size of this, but, not far. About the same size as the one you would get at the store. So it's a little bit heavier for sure. 5 pounds of corns. I don't know what my corn's going to look like this year. I had 24 cucumbers last year. I didn't remember that I had so much cucumbers. At 18 pounds, I've already crushed that 18 pounds of cucumbers. I harvest at least half a dozen cucumber per day that are over a pound. And that's just the ones that are over a pound. And that's been going on since mid-July. Well, maybe the last full week of July. I would have to check my pictures and my videos. But that's at least 40, 50 pounds of cucumbers easily. And that's almost exaggerating too low. A few berries, 22 pounds of onions. I am far from that this year, but I was lucky enough to have some for free from my girlfriend's cousin. Almost 8 pounds of peppers. If my peppers survive and don't end up moldy, I will have more than that this year. They're big and wonderful. 85 pounds of potatoes. That's going to be hard to beat because I didn't plant potatoes. I planted about, 10 square feet of potatoes. So I might get 10 to 15 pounds of potatoes. That's it. 83 pounds of pumpkins. Now, that's a tricky one because that was 24 sugar pumpkins last year that I ended up with. Let's just see. My brain isn't working, but 83. I clicked on calculator already. Come on, open up. So 83 divided by 24. So that's 83 divided. So it's like 3.5 pounds per pumpkin on average. There were a lot of sugar pumpkins. There might have been like 2 that were bigger. This year, I have. I'm not actually sure of the type of pumpkins I have. They were given to me. The plants were given to me. So I know for a fact that the pumpkins are over 10 pounds. I can't lift them from the ground without being afraid to break the top. And just like going at the end of my arms like this, I can't lift them up. So it's a good 20, 25 pounds. The big one anyway. So if I get 4 pumpkins, I might get that 83 pounds. 2.5 pounds of radishes last year. I'm over that this year, even if the season is already over. 9 pounds of rhubarb. I didn't get 9 pounds, but I'm not far. Almost 7 pounds of rutabaga. That's easily defeated because I'm already past that, and I still have more than half left in the garden. I had 396 pounds of squash last year. A total of 171 squash. Talk about someone who likes squash. So I ended up cooking some spaghetti squash, freezing it. I ended up putting some on the shelves. We ended up having to give a few to the chickens because they were moldy. But I canned a lot. I have some canned. I have some frozen. We put some in soup. Um, that's gonna be hard to beat. But with the ones I have, that's one thing I want to say quickly. What I thought was the squash, the delicata squash, that's not it. This is not the one that I have growing. The one I have growing is actually the Gete Okasawa or Okinawa, or that weird, strange squash that was extinct for the last 800 years, and they were able to find some seeds in Arkansas, I think it was, buried like in the clay somewhere, and they ended up being able to revive those seeds. Those squash are delicious. I picked them up, they were this big, but apparently they can get a lot bigger. So I could get 30-pound squash. I have a few ones at the community garden, and I left them there, and I'm hoping to see them change color a little bit. They should get more on the orange side. And the reason I know that I made a mistake by I identified them wrongly is because I gave some seeds to one of my colleagues, knowing that she's always looking for that kind of stuff, and they're pretty good gardeners as well. And she showed me the pictures of the squash she had, and it's the same one that I thought was the delicata squash. So either the delicata squash didn't grow, or I'm going to find them in the garden somewhere soon. How to garden. Thank you so much for stopping by. So we have Marilyn, Tracy, and How to Garden. So there was about 22.5 pounds of strawberries. That is hard to measure for this year because the kids have been eating them straight up in the garden. But I probably have 3 cups of gooseberries, a cup of white currants, and for strawberries, I mean, I still harvest strawberries like on a weekly basis, just like a handful of them, but enough for the kids to just enjoy a good strawberry. Here but not here, buddy. Gardens mostly in pots. Blessed to have one at all. I'm grateful. That's awesome. I mean, anything you can grow is better than growing nothing at all. What else did I have last year? So I had zucchinis at 100 zucchinis for 250 pounds of zucchinis. I'm guessing that I am already close to that number. If not, if I harvest everything I have in my garden now and what I have at the community garden, I will pass that number. I have more than 100 zucchini available for sure, because I was able to give about at least 25 away already. I pickled about 10. I froze about 10, and I still have about 20 in the kitchen. Just finished painting my van. That's awesome. And good evening, Wild Edibles, and good evening, Dave Knight. I also harvested about 135 pounds of tomatoes last year, but that's not going to be doable this year. If I get 50 pounds this year, I'll be happy. So I'm not going to get the 2,500 pound of food. I ended up with, okay, so it says 52 from my, okay, yeah. So the number I have here for last year is not good. What I have for Shed Wars 2023 is actually 52 pounds of venison. But that number is from the deer we harvested in 2022 that was harvested after the season was done. And 2023, it was harvested after the season was done as well. And I know it was about, give or take, 140 pounds. Because we had a doe that was about 100 pounds, split in half between my brother and I. And I ended up with another about 3/4 of another deer. So that was about 80-90 pounds of venison that I ended up with. So that's not going to be attainable this year unless we get some more doe tags. And we will know before school starts. Well, actually, the same day school starts. So on September 3rd, we will know. And funny thing, September 3rd is actually my parents-in-law's wedding anniversary and my parents' wedding anniversary. Pretty cool. My parents have been married for 42 years. Well, it'll be 42 years in 2 weeks, a week and a half from now. And I ended up with a total of 238 pounds of moose meat. Basically because it was like 20 pounds in the heart alone and another 219 pounds of meat. That was 1/3 of the moose, which was huge. So that was a total of 2454 pounds of food total last year. Now, if I was to do all those numbers again this year, it would be hard to know because obviously, like I said before, the kids go out and eat straight from the garden, which is something I love. I love see them doing, and even myself, I've been eating a lot of stuff, and I bring it inside, and I don't weigh it anymore. But I would be closing in on 2,000 at the end of the season, pretty sure. You already way in front of me, Remy. Proud of your garden knowledge and harvest. Thank you, Marilyn. But the knowledge I have is because of people like you, Dave, Hanny, the ones I bug all the time. Sal's giving me a few tricks. A lot of other people in the community have given me a bunch of tricks and tips. I only hit deer while driving. Yeah. In New Brunswick, if you hit an animal, you have to leave it there. You can't pick it up for meat, which sucks. And that food forest you have started will be very cool in no time. Yeah, and I'm not done. I still have some hair-grafted apple trees. And I will probably buy my bear hunting tag, even if it's just for protection, and go around the apple trees, not too far, bring my rifle and my shovel, and go dig up some very small, tiny apple trees. Now, I don't know what kind of apples I'm going to get, but I mean, as long as I don't end up with 20 crab apple trees, I'm good. If I have one or two, that's fine. If I have a bunch of different apples, even if we don't like eating them straight up, we'll cook with them. And worst comes to worst, we'll graft on them. I already harvested a few crab apples from Sarah's property. I'm pretty sure they're going to be crab apples because I picked up the suckers with the roots from his main tree. But there's a lot of apple trees around, even on my dad's land, that I can probably go harvest. They're still small enough that I can pick them up. But it's a work in progress. The food forest is getting there. I will have more and more currants. I will have more and more blueberries, more and more gooseberries, haskaps, or if you prefer, honeyberries. I want to have more of those. I want to start hair grafting them, duplicating them, just to have more on hand. I had a lot this year. I probably ended up with about a cup of honeyberries, but the problem is I don't have time to bring them inside. I'll bring a small cup, like maybe quarter cup inside, and the kids will eat it pretty much right away. I want to have enough to be able to make some wine, jelly, and other things like that. Not for me. My food forest went crazy without me tending to it. That's usually how it goes, but it's good. Lots of weeds, lots of compost. Yeah, I find that when you plant something and let it go, that's when it does its best. Because we're all trying to do, okay, it needs water, it needs compost, it needs this, it needs that. Most of the time, the tree knows on its own what it needs to survive. It's crazy, but it is a reality. Some of the apple trees I hear grafted are actually doing pretty good. Well, there's at least one that I know is still alive. So if 1 out of 4 survives, that means that every year I can get around 5 apple trees for free. Plus the ones that I will go and dig out from the wild apple trees. Still canning. Awesome. We get to keep it in Ontario. Yeah, Ontario in the States, I think, is like that. Michael, Hemby Heritage Farms, how's it going? I have to warn you, in 2 minutes, I am going to have to leave because I will be a guest on Scott's Rambling with the Brooms live stream. He starts in 2 minutes. I just want to have time to go to the bathroom, get a quick snack, get one more beer, and have time to do everything properly, get ready to join and all that stuff. And we will talk about, for those of you who don't know, about a fundraiser we're doing next weekend. We will be live, probably on Scott's live stream, on mine. Tracy might be joining. I don't know if you're still in the chat. If you are, hopefully you'll be able to noise. We're doing a fundraiser for a 4-year-old little girl from my area that suffers from brain cancer. So we will be doing like a telethon. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's not going to be 24 hours like I said I was going to do, because there's not going to be anyone watching at night anyway. But if you have time, any of you during the day, to just stop by, even if you don't do any donations, if you can't make any donations, just your support is appreciated. If you're the praying type, please pray for that girl. They're going through hard times, and I just want to do my part. I want to be able to help. I don't have money. If I win the lottery tonight, I have my Lotomax ticket. If I win the lottery, I'll be able to pay whatever they want, whatever they need. But if I don't win, I need to think about plan B. And what I have is a bunch of beautiful friends on YouTube, a beautiful community, people that are willing to join and help spread the message and get some donations for that family in need. You're at least 3 weeks ahead of my area. Elderberries are done, so Tracy's still here. Awesome. Sorry I'm here but not here. I have to mute you, but we'll catch the replay to hear what you said later. Awesome. I have to go now anyways. Scott started, so I don't want to be late on his live stream. I will end the stream and you will be redirected to his live stream. So if you still have time to support someone, you can go ahead and support him. Don't forget the thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you cannot write anything in the comments. So, if you are commenting, it means you are subscribed, but don't forget the thumbs up. You can share my stuff, watch some videos. If you watch some of the ads next week, hopefully we'll be able to put that all in as a donation for a little girl. Take care, everyone, and I will see you next time. All right. Bye.